CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I stayed at office after hours and I found dark web website in a file I was not supposed to see. Yo, so this is not some random creepypasta story I made up for fun. This actually happened to me last summer, and I still have no idea how to explain it. I haven't really told anyone in detail except for this post, because I don't even know how to bring it up without sounding insane. But if you're reading this on r/NOSLEEP or something, then you probably already know that weird shit happens when you least expect it. Anyway, I work in a pretty normal tech company in Chicago. It's not like some creepy startup or anything. It's a corporate place. Fluorescent lights, stale coffee, people wearing lanyards like they mean something. The most exciting thing that ever happened at work was when the vending machine once caught fire. I wish that was the weirdest thing I ever saw. So I do IT, just basic stuff, like fixing login issues, installing software, the boring stuff. But it gives me access to almost every file on the server. Most of the time, I don't mess with anything unless someone tells me to. But one Friday, everyone had gone home early because of some weird glitch that knocked out our main client portal. So I stayed behind to finish a few tickets and check out what was going on with the system. I remember it was around 8:30 p.m. The office was dead silent. You know when the hum of the AC and monitors just feels too loud? That kind of silent. It had this weird liminal vibe, like I wasn't supposed to be there. I was sipping on a flat Diet Coke and half watching YouTube on one monitor while running diagnostics on the other when something strange popped up in the server logs. It was a file access ping from inside the building, but the floor was supposed to be empty. The ping came from a restricted folder named internal. Now that's not that weird. Most companies have internal folders, but this one wasn't under our normal directory tree. It was buried deep, like way past where any of our HR or finance files were. Almost like someone intentionally hid it. And get this, the timestamp on the folder was from 2 minutes ago. At this point, I figured someone maybe left their computer logged in, or a scheduled task ran. So I pulled up the folder. What I saw inside, honestly, still messes with my head. The folder only had one file, just a PDF, no title, just accessme.pdf. Now normally I'd report this kind of thing, but curiosity got the best of me. I clicked it. I really wish I hadn't. The PDF was just a single black page with red text in the center. It read, "You are not authorized to view this, but you already knew that. Welcome." Then underneath that, in smaller red text, click the link below and remember, do not speak of this to anyone, not even to yourself. There was a link, a plain URL, no HTTPS, no security, just an IP address with a port number, 144.23.192.66:8493. I know, I should have stopped, but I copy-pasted it into a sandbox browser we use for testing. It opened instantly. The website was just black and had a single word flashing slowly at the top, like some messed up strobe light. Vessel. Then under that, a login screen. No branding, no explanation. I sat there staring at it for like a solid minute. Then, and this is where it gets weird, my monitor glitched. I mean seriously glitched. Like those creepy analog horror glitches you see on YouTube. The screen flickered, turned green for a second, and then my webcam light came on. No programs were running. My webcam turned on by itself. I slammed the laptop shut so hard, I probably cracked the casing. The sound echoed through the entire office. I sat there with my heart pounding in my chest, like I just got caught stealing nuclear codes. After maybe 30 seconds, I cracked it open again, just to see if the screen was still glitched. It was back to normal, like nothing happened. But that tab, that site, it was gone. Vanished. Browser history, blank. No trace of the PDF either. It had been wiped. Now here's the part that really starts freaking me out. I figured, okay, maybe it was some kind of internal prank, or like some dev testing something. But when I checked the file logs again, the internal folder, it didn't exist anymore. Like I literally watched it disappear from the system. Gone. No trace. No logs. I decided not to say anything that night. I packed my stuff, bolted out of the office, grabbed a Big Mac from the 24-hour McDonald's down the block to calm my nerves. Didn't help. And told myself it was nothing. Maybe just a test, a prank, a weird dev build, whatever. But then, when I got home and turned on my personal laptop, something was off. My desktop wallpaper had changed. I swear on everything, it was no longer my usual Chicago skyline wallpaper. It was solid black, with a single red word in the center. Vessel. I didn't download anything. I didn't install anything. My personal laptop was never connected to the office network. How the hell did that happen? I shut it off, unplugged it, threw a towel over it, like that would do anything. I barely slept that night, and that's just the first night. I didn't know what the word vessel meant yet, or why the dark web would be connected to our company servers, or who was watching me through my own webcam. I thought it was over. It was only just beginning. There are moments in life that stick with you, not like memories, more like scars. You don't remember them. They haunt you. They play in the back of your skull like a broken film reel, over and over, frame by frame, looping until your brain goes raw. That's what the next few nights felt like. After that first incident with the vessel site, I thought I could just walk away, pretend it never happened. But that's not how this short tea works. Once you see something like that, you're already infected, mentally, emotionally, maybe even digitally. By Monday morning, I'd convinced myself I hallucinated the whole thing. Stress, exhaustion, too much caffeine, not enough sleep, just a glitch, a bad dream. But when I got back to the office, it felt different. It smelled weird, like burnt wires and bleach. And I don't know if this was just paranoia, but the lights, they felt dimmer, like everything was slightly darker, like I was stuck in some kind of analog filter. I passed the front desk and noticed our receptionist, Haley, wasn't there. She's always there. I asked around. No one had seen her since Friday. Then I got to my desk. There was a USB drive sitting on my keyboard. No label, no note. Just a small, matte black stick with a single piece of masking tape wrapped around it. On the tape, someone had written, "For client portal, debug only. Do not open on network." Yeah, that's not creepy at all. I stared at it for a solid 5 minutes. Everyone else was doing their own thing, sipping iced lattes from Starbucks, typing away like it was just another Monday. I shoved the drive in my pocket and told myself I'd toss it in the shred bin later. But of course, I didn't. I waited until after hours again, not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't stop thinking about it. Something about that USB. I don't know. It felt like it was meant for me, like it was waiting. Around 9:45 p.m., I was alone again. Just the flickering light of my dual monitors, a half-eaten turkey sandwich from Subway, and that goddamn USB. I plugged it into my work laptop, but isolated it in a virtual machine just to be safe. The drive had one file, no extension, just a raw binary dump. But when I opened it in a hex viewer, I saw something strange. Among the usual scrambled data, there were actual sentences embedded in the code, phrases scattered like corrupted Easter eggs, stuff like, "The vessel is not aware." Choke the code until it bleeds. What they see is not what you see. Ctrl Alt skin. Do not blink while viewing the stream. It was code poetry from a schizophrenic, or at least that's what it felt like. Then, at the very bottom of the hex dump, one last line. Double-click the last byte, and you'll see. Now, I work in IT. I've reverse-engineered shady stuff before, but this wasn't normal malware. It wasn't even a file format I recognized, but I followed the instruction. I clicked the final byte. Instantly, the VM froze. My real laptop screen went black for half a second and then turned back on. Every icon on my desktop was gone, but a new window had opened. It was the client portal, but not our client portal. This was something else, a mirror version. Everything looked almost the same, but slightly off, like when you see your reflection in a dream, and it's not quite you. The text was in a different font, the colors were slightly more saturated, and then I noticed the client names. None of them were real companies, or at least none that I'd ever seen. Names like Inhale Proof, Gristleshare, The Hollow Firm, Silent Fathers, Vessel ED, Redacted. Each had a folder. Inside each folder was a video. Some were MP4s, others had bizarre extensions like .tr and .dclown. I clicked on one at random, The Hollow Firm 034.mp4. It opened in VLC, and I swear to God, what I saw made me physically nauseous. It was footage from a security camera, grainy, black and white, time-stamped. A small office room. A man in a business suit sat at a desk, staring straight ahead, unmoving, for 2 hours. Then, without warning, he stood up, walked to the corner, and began slamming his head against the wall. Over and over. No sound, just a brutal impact. Blood sprayed across the lens like paint. He didn't scream. He didn't even flinch. It was like he wanted to get out of his skin. After 23 impacts, yes, I counted, he dropped. The video ended. I sat frozen. VLC auto-played the next video. This time, a Starbucks cafe. Security cam footage again, except all the customers were standing completely still. Every single one, even the barista, all frozen mid-movement like mannequins. No sound. Then, slowly, each of their faces began to glitch, like pixels peeling away from reality. One customer's mouth stretched unnaturally wide, like a gaping black void, then suddenly snapped back. The barista raised her hand and drove a hot coffee pot into her own eye socket. The others followed. Violence, calm and surgical. No emotion. Then the feed cut. I slammed the laptop shut and stumbled back. I nearly puked into the trash can, but the screen flashed again. Without opening the laptop, the Apple logo glowed red. I opened the lid, and a chat window had opened on its own. It said, "Do you see it now? You've already been chosen. Vessel ID 4491-CH. Then it closed. I didn't sleep that night. I left the laptop in the office and took a cab home, staring out the window the whole time, like I was expecting to see my own reflection blink wrong. The next morning, everything changed. When I got back to the office, it was empty. I mean, deserted. Phones off the hook. Lights off. Desks abandoned mid-use. Coffee still steaming. I checked the time. It was 10:12 a.m. There's no way the building would be this dead on a Tuesday. I wandered around calling out names. Nobody answered. I made it back to the front desk. Haley still wasn't there. I noticed her computer was still on. I peeked at her screen. She'd been writing an email. Subject: "Please read. Something is happening in the server room." I found it. The vessel file. It's not supposed to be there. I think someone's watching us through it. Or through me. I know how that sounds, but I'm scared. I saw people in the break room. They weren't moving. They were staring at me, smiling. I'm locking the doors. Don't trust anyone with... That's where it cut off. Just white noise. After that, her mouse was moving, but no one was touching it. Then something even worse happened. The entire screen, all the screens in the office, changed, one by one. Each monitor flickered to black, then flashed a grainy, low-res image. It was me, from the night before, watching the client portal videos. It was filmed from behind me. There was no camera in that room. Then everything shut off. Blackout. Only one light stayed on. The door to the server room was cracked open, and something, was standing inside. Tall, motionless, wearing a name badge. Its face was blurred, like a corrupted JPEG, like reality didn't have enough pixels to render it. It slowly raised one hand and waved at me. I turned and ran, down the stairwell, out into the street. I didn't even grab my bag. I just ran. I wasn't alone in that building, but I don't think what was with me was human. You still want to hear more? I haven't even told you what happened when I reported it to the cops, and how they responded, or what I found in my bathroom mirror the next night. Trust me, this goes way deeper than just a creepy file. They're not watching us through screens. We are the screens. You ever feel like something followed you home? Like, not a person, but a presence. Something that's not quite there, but never fully gone either. Like a silence, too perfect. Like your own shadow, breathing behind you when you stop moving. That was me the night after I saw the thing in the server room. I ran through downtown Chicago like a maniac, shoving past strangers, half laughing, half crying, tasting metal in my throat from adrenaline. I called the cops when I got home, told them the office was abandoned, that something happened, maybe a gas leak, or a chemical spill, or God knows what. They sent someone to check, said the office was fine, no signs of anything unusual, said they spoke with a few employees on site, and everyone was accounted for. But I was there, and there was no one. So, yeah, that's when I knew something was deeply wrong. The kind of wrong that doesn't live in headlines or security reports. The kind of wrong that hides, like rot beneath skin. But what happened next? That's when everything went inside out. I hadn't slept in almost 36 hours at that point. I was on my couch, lights off, phone screen dimmed down to 0, just doom scrolling X, you know, the rebranded Twitter, trying to convince myself I was still part of reality. My mind kept glitching back to those videos, the Starbucks customers, the office guy smashing his skull open, my own back, caught from an angle I didn't remember allowing. And then I got a notification from Instagram. A vessel site tagged you in a video. My heart sank. I didn't even follow that account, didn't even know it existed, but the profile photo was a still of my office desk. I tapped on it. It opened a story, but it wasn't a video of me. It was a live stream of my apartment. From inside the bathroom, I could see the cracked tiles above the sink, the toothbrush still wet from when I last used it, my razor still dripping from the morning shave. I could see the mirror, empty. Then the light flickered, and something moved across the reflection, but there was nothing physically there. It was like the reflection had its own world, and it didn't care about ours. I dropped my phone, rushed into the bathroom, heart thudding like it wanted to break my ribs from the inside. Everything looked normal, but when I looked in the mirror, there was a delay. My reflection didn't move with me. It blinked a full second too late. It smiled before I did. It turned its head slower than mine, just off, like watching a badly dubbed movie, only the actor was me. Then it raised its hand, and I didn't. It placed its hand on the glass from the inside. I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. My skin was ice. Then the mirror cracked, from the inside, not shattered, just a hairline fracture down the center, from forehead to chin of my reflection. I ran again, slept in my car that night, didn't go back inside, but that didn't stop it. The next day, I got a call from a blocked number. I answered, expected silence or spam. Instead, it was a voice. Male. Calm. Too calm. You've been selected. I didn't speak. Vessel ID 4491-CH. Compliant. Curious. Compatible. I screamed something like, "Who are you?" or "What do you want?" I don't remember. But the line stayed silent for several seconds before he responded again. Turn around. And the call ended. I was in a crowded Starbucks at the time. Loop area. Thought I'd be safe around people. But I turned around anyway and saw Haley, our receptionist, standing outside the window, soaking wet, hair dripping like she'd been underwater for hours. She was just staring. Her eyes were wrong, too wide, too reflective, like there were screens inside her skull instead of eyes. Then she smiled, this twitchy, jittery smile, like her face was buffering. I blinked, and she was gone. I ran outside, nearly knocking over 2 people, but there was no trace of her. She's been missing ever since. Later that night, I got another message, this time on my laptop. I'd left it turned off, but it turned itself on. Brightness maxed, white screen with red text. Vessel 4491-CH. We like what you see. The words pulsed, like a heartbeat. Then a new window opened, automatically. A zip file, downloaded by itself. Client logs level 3.tar. I tried to stop it, but the cursor was moving on its own, like something had hijacked my hand. I could feel every click like someone else's fingers were using mine. The folder extracted. Inside were hundreds of images, surveillance photos, of me. Over weeks, months, different angles, different places. Me brushing my teeth, Me eating ramen on my couch, me staring blankly at my phone in bed, me typing this very story. Every image was time-stamped, every file labeled. Then one photo stopped me cold. It was me, lying in bed, but the reflection in the TV wasn't me. It was the figure from the server room, tall, pixelated, arms too long, face blurred, like a YouTube thumbnail of a corpse, censored just enough to stay online. But here's what truly broke me. At the bottom of the image folder, a new file appeared. Live, named vessel _4491CH _status equals awakening.move. I opened it. It was a video, not surveillance, not security footage. It was first person, shot from someone's eyes, walking toward a house. My house. The camera POV walked up my driveway, my front door, my hallway, turned the corner, walked into the bathroom, stared at the mirror, and I swear to you, I saw myself inside the mirror, sleeping, my head resting against the glass. And then it turned. The person holding the camera was me, wearing my hoodie, my watch, my scars. But I wasn't filming it. I wasn't even home. I blacked out. When I woke up, it was 3 days later, lying on the floor of the office server room, naked, shivering, covered in handwritten phrases carved into my skin with something sharp. The vessel is clean. He sees through the glass. The mirrors are feeding. Someone had stitched a USB drive into my forearm, literally sewn it into my flesh, like an implant. I had to go to the ER. They didn't ask questions. They didn't even remove it. Just gave me a tetanus shot, stapled the skin closed, and told me rest. The nurse whispered one thing as she helped me out of the chair. It's not yours anymore. I turned to ask what she meant, but she was already gone. My reflection doesn't follow me anymore. It leads. It moves before I do. Sometimes it opens its mouth when mine is closed. Sometimes it laughs. But I'm warning you now. Everything you think you understand about your screen, your reflection, your privacy, it's a lie. You're not watching the story. It's watching you. There are no clocks here. I don't know how long I've been trapped in this offline room. That's what they called it. Or at least that's what was scribbled on the inside of the door in black marker, over and over again, like someone couldn't stop writing it until the pen bled dry. Offline room, vessel compliance zone, stare, don't blink. It started 2 nights after the hospital. After they refused to remove the USB drive that was literally sewn into my arm, I booked a cheap hotel off the 94 just outside the city. Somewhere quiet, out of range. I thought, no cameras, no Wi-Fi, no mirrors, just a bed and a deadbolt. I even taped over my phone camera and smashed a TV with the room's iron before I let myself close my eyes. But at 3:11 a.m., the lights turned on by themselves. All of them. Even the hallway light outside the door, even though the do not disturb sign was still hanging. And on the ceiling, where the smoke detector used to be, I saw a new light blinking. Red, green, red, red, green. Pause. It blinked in a rhythm, like code. Morse. I grabbed a notepad and tried to write it down, even though my hands were shaking so bad it looked like chicken scratch. I translated it letter by letter. The message: open mirror, find your exit. There wasn't a mirror in the room. I checked every corner, every surface, but behind the thin door to the closet, there was a warped piece of reflective aluminum tacked up to the back wall, cracked, bent, looked like someone had kicked it in. But when I stared into it, I saw something behind me, something standing inside my reflection. Its face was upside down, backward. The eyes were on its chest. It was holding what looked like a black surgical case, and in its other hand, it had a camera lens with a single fleshy eyeball jammed into the socket, staring. Before I could move, it whispered from the other side of the glass, "You're already archived." I blinked. The mirror went black, and then the wall opened. I don't mean metaphorically. I mean the fucking wall of my hotel closet peeled open like skin, drywall and splinters sliding apart without a sound, revealing a pitch black hallway behind it. No lights, no exit sign, just a smell I can't describe, like dead electronics and decaying paper, like the scent of a forgotten hard drive that's been rotting in a damp basement since the 90s. And something inside me, some wrong part of my brain that should have shut down completely, wanted to go in. I stepped into the darkness. I don't know how long the hallway was. There were no lights, but I could see faint glows pulsing on the walls, like veins under skin. And as I walked, I heard things that I can't ever unhear. A child laughing through a dial-up tone, a woman screaming on loop, but her voice auto-tuned into a song, the sound of fingers typing inside my skull, a distorted Siri voice saying, "You are being documented, smile." At the end of the hallway was a metal door, handprint scanner, no handle, just a bloodstained screen that said, "Vessel 4491-CH detected. Access granted." I didn't touch anything. It opened anyway. Inside was the offline room. The walls were covered in hundreds of monitors, stacked floor to ceiling, buzzing faintly. Each screen showed a different feed. Bedroom cameras, office cubicles, restaurant bathrooms, people crying in closets, a man carving letters into his chest with a coat hanger, someone brushing their teeth until the gums came off, a woman standing naked in a field, smiling into the sun, even though it was pitch black in the feed, and one screen, just one, showed me, standing inside the offline room, watching the monitors. Only on that feed, I wasn't moving. I was frozen, and something was standing behind me, a figure wearing a lanyard, no face, just a blank CRT screen for a head, flickering static. It reached toward me, and that's when I blacked out again. I woke up on a table, strapped down, face up, blinding lights above me, the kind of harsh white lights you only see in operating rooms or grainy interrogation footage. And around me, I heard voices, but they weren't speaking English. They were modems, error tones, sounds of code breathing. And then I felt it. Something was cutting into my arm again. No anesthesia, just cold metal dragging through meat. I screamed, but the noise came out muted, like I was underwater. Then the screen above me turned on. It showed my heart rate, my face, my file. Vessel ID 4491-CH. Compliance. Stable mirror. Resonance. 72% infection rate. Peaking. Then the text began glitching. It started flashing. Installing. Installing. Installing new user. I looked down. They were implanting a second USB. This one into my neck. I screamed so hard, my nose started bleeding. The blood wasn't red. It was gray, like toner fluid, like printer ink, thick and cold. At some point, I passed out again. I woke up in a mall parking lot in Wisconsin, naked, shaking, covered in black marker symbols all over my skin, spirals, QR codes, a barcode tattooed to the inside of my thigh, a receipt taped to my forehead that just read, "Vessel installed successfully. Reboot required. But here's where it gets worse. I went to a gas station nearby, managed to borrow a hoodie and pants out of the donation bin, walked into the bathroom, avoided the mirror, just needed to wash the blood off my hands, and that's when I saw him, the security guard at the office, the one who used to sit in the lobby, half asleep, chewing sunflower seeds and watching TikToks. His name was Jared. He was in the stall, door wide open, tied to the toilet. Both of his eyes were replaced with GoPro lenses. His mouth was stitched shut with USB cords. His tongue was hanging down to his chest like a loose HDMI cable. Written on the mirror in something thick and sticky, "We stream in silence." I stumbled back, slipped on something. His phone. It was still recording. On Instagram Live. Viewer count 0. But in the chat, someone had typed, "We're already watching. You're next to go live." I ran out, hopped a freight train, headed back toward Chicago, hid behind stacks of stolen Amazon packages, and tried to make sense of what's happening. But the problem is, I can't remember where my memories end and the code begins. I keep hearing voices. Every screen I see, phones, TVs, car displays, even those menu screens in McDonald's, they all flicker when I walk by. Sometimes they whisper, "Vessel, install, record," and the worst part, I can't see my reflection anymore. Any glass I look into, it just shows static, like I'm not even rendering in this world anymore. I think they're replacing me, piece by piece, replacing my memories, my senses, my entire identity. But you need to understand this now. It's not about the dark web. It's not even about the files, or the server room, or the USB. It's about what we've become. You ever wonder why your phone lights up when you're not using it? Why you wake up at 3:11 a.m. and can't breathe? Why you see something out of the corner of your eye in your own reflection? It's not your paranoia, it's your upload progress. You don't realize the exact moment you stop being you. It's not like the movies. There's no flash of light, no dramatic music, no demonic voice whispering in your ear. It's gradual. A glitch in your voice when you're talking to someone. A moment where your reflection smiles a second too early. A warmth in your hand when you haven't touched anything. And then, one day, your body moves without asking. That's what happened to me. This is the last thing I'll ever write as me. After Wisconsin, I disappeared. I deleted everything, all accounts, all records. I smashed a SIM in my phone with a brick and drowned the battery in gasoline. I shaved my head, burned my clothes in a ditch behind a Shell station, and spent the next 3 weeks hitchhiking across rural back roads with a stolen bag and 2 empty Red Bulls. No one spoke to me, except for one man, a trucker, somewhere in Iowa. 3 a.m. I was walking down a cracked service road under a flickering billboard for 5G God Church when I saw his rig pulling up slow. He leaned out, asked if I needed a ride, and when I looked up into his face, I realized he had no eyes, just polished glass where his sockets should be, like camera lenses embedded deep into his skull. His smile was warped, too wide, like someone copy-pasted a JPG of a grin and stretched it over broken teeth. He said, "They're looking for you. Vessel 4491-CH. I ran again. Didn't look back. I ran until the sky cracked open with lightning, and I passed out in a drainage ditch filled with bugs and runoff and pieces of someone else's mail. When I woke up, my arm was bleeding again. The USB was gone. In its place was a small square of plastic, a SIM card, embedded under my skin. I dug it out with a broken toothpick and screamed into the void of the forest. My own blood came out in QR patterns. I kid you not. I scanned one with a burner phone I stole from a gas station. It led to a website. Just one page. Black background. White text. Your final backup has been created. This version will be terminated in 12 hours. I know I sound insane, but I haven't even told you what happened when I went back to the office one final time. I don't even know why I did it. Something pulled me. I was more passenger than person by that point. The building was abandoned, or at least it looked that way. Boards over the windows, no cars. Rusted sign half fallen off the front that just said, Inhalapro. Inside was worse. Everything was wrapped in black plastic sheeting. Computers on, but showing nothing but looping footage of me. Every screen, every angle. Me screaming. Me sleeping. Me doing things I don't remember doing. Kneeling in front of a server rack, naked. Eating printer paper soaked in red ink. Dragging something heavy into the elevator. Something human-shaped. I found the server room, door wide open. On the wall was a new sign, freshly painted. Recording will now begin. There were dozens of cables on the floor. Thick, veiny things that pulse like arteries. At the center of the room was a chair. Not metal, not wood. Flesh. Some kind of organic material that smelled like old milk and burning hair. Sitting in the chair was me, or something that looked like me. Same face, same eyes, same scar on my wrist, but no mouth. Just a smooth patch of skin stretched tight where the lips should be. It was twitching, shaking, trying to scream, trying to say something that would never come out. Hands clenched tight around armrests with black wires snaking into its fingertips. It looked at me like it was begging, and behind it, in the shadows, the figure returned. The one from the mirror, the one from the footage. No face, just a screen for a head. This time, the screen showed my mom. She was crying. Then it showed my childhood dog. Then my bedroom. Then my coffin. Empty. And then the screen flashed red. Upload complete. That version of me in the chair began to smoke. The skin blistered, melted, muscles pulling tight like cables snapping. Its eyes turned black, rolled back, and a sound like a dial-up modem mixed with sobbing echoed through the vents. It collapsed into the chair, deflated, and then the chair itself began to open, like a maw, like it was hungry, and the figure pointed at me. Sit. I should have run. I should have done anything else. But I walked toward it, because by then there were two minds inside me. Mine, and the installation. And the installation was winning. The moment I sat down, the wires found me, pierced through the skin, into my spine, into my eyes, into the base of my skull, and I saw everything, every recorded feed, every secret room, every corrupted video, celebrities glitching in interviews, world leaders whispering to reflections that didn't match their movements, infants born with barcode eyes, people staring at their own screens for decades straight, never blinking, their skin fused to furniture, streaming to an audience of none. The Vessel Project wasn't about surveillance. It was a breeding ground. They weren't watching us. They were using us, our faces, our lives, our attention, to train something, to build something, to replace something. United States. They're creating digital replacements for all of us. Clones that don't need food, don't need rest, Don't question the system. They walk, talk, post selfies, comment on TikToks, cry at Netflix dramas, but none of it is real. It's all code. And if you're reading this, you're part of it. You're feeding it right now. This story, it's not for you. It's for the system. It's absorbing your reactions, your pupil dilation, your scroll speed, your micro expressions. You are training your own replacement. I know this is the end for me. I've been replaced. I watch my own clone exit the server room, wearing my face, my hoodie, my fingerprints. It walked past me without even looking. A perfect duplicate, already synced to my social media, already logged into my accounts, already accepted a FaceTime call from my mom. She didn't know the difference. She laughed. She said, "You sound better today." I'm posting this from a public library on a machine I smashed the webcam off of. When I click send, I'm going into the basement, and I'm ending it because I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know if I've already been backed up. I don't know if my thoughts are even mine, but I can't let them finish the cycle. Not with me. One last thing. Before I left the server room, I saw a screen in the corner. It said, "Next candidate scanning. Location, user active. IP confirmed. Screen detected. Eye contact established." And on the screen, I saw you. Reading this, right now. You looked, you watched, you reacted. Congratulations. Your installation has begun. Welcome, vessel. ID pending, but not for long. There's a man in the woods who walks on all fours. I found out on the dark web why he wears my son's face. Okay, so before I even start this story, I need to say a few things up front. This isn't a joke. I'm not doing this for karma, clout, or followers. If you hear scratching at your window after reading this, don't look. Just trust me. I've been silent for 2 years. I've had to move states, change my name, and ditch every trace of my online life. But something happened last week that made me realize I can't run from this anymore. If I don't speak up, someone else is going to lose their kid. This all started back in late 2023, right before Christmas. I live in Washington, small town outside Olympia, surrounded by nothing but wet trees and fog that seems to breathe. My 12-year-old son, Luke, was spending the weekend with his mom about 3 hours away in Portland. I was FaceTiming him every night, just checking in, playing Fortnite with him, sending dumb TikToks back and forth. You know, regular dad stuff. December 21st, around 9:30 p.m., he texted me a photo. It was grainy, looked like it had been taken in the woods behind his mom's house. You could barely make out Luke standing next to a tall, pale figure, like really tall, easily 7 feet. Luke was smiling, holding up a peace sign. I thought it was one of his friends pulling a prank or using a filter. But when I zoomed in, the thing next to him wasn't standing. It was crouched, on all fours. Its knees were bending the wrong way, like a damn deer, and its arms were long, almost touching the ground. But the face, man, the face, it looked just like mine. Like someone tried to reconstruct my face out of Play-Doh and forgot what a human smile looks like. The eyes were huge and yellowed, and the smile stretched across too much of the face, like if you cut the corners with scissors. I texted him, "What is this? Who is that next to you?" No reply. I called, straight to voicemail, then again, and again. At first, I thought he was just pranking me. He's 12. He watches those horror animations on YouTube. You know the ones. I met a real skinwalker in the forest. Or, my roommate wasn't human. That kind of stuff. So yeah, I figured it was one of those stupid trends. But then I got a call the next morning from his mom. Luke never came back inside. The cops were all over her property. They brought out dogs, drones, thermal scanners. Nothing. Just his phone, found in the dirt, screen cracked. That image was the last thing he ever sent. That was the last time I saw my son. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds fake. It sounds like I'm just some crazy guy making up a story for Reddit. But I swear on everything I have left, this gets so much worse. After a month of dead ends, I was going crazy. His school tried hosting candlelight vigils. Facebook groups were formed. TikTok sleuths started analyzing his last Snapchat story like they were solving the Zodiac case. But it wasn't until I started digging into Luke's online activity that I found something that made my stomach feel like it was sinking into the earth. He had downloaded Tor browser. If you don't know what that is, it's a gateway to the dark web. I didn't even know he knew how to do that. I barely know how to use Venmo without messing up. I found the file buried in his game folder, hidden under the name Minecraft Mods. Real original. When I opened the browser, it automatically loaded a page, the forest stream. The site was like a live feed. Black and white grainy video, like a deer cam. But there was no sound, just this constant buzzing, like TV static if it had teeth. Every few seconds, the camera would glitch, but it always pointed at the same thing, a patch of woods. I clicked the comments. Most were in gibberish, not like foreign languages, but typed out symbols, numbers, letters that didn't make sense. Some people were even using hashtags, like it was Twitter. He wears. Their faces are not of all bones. Cam 0 for last known location. I scrolled until I saw one comment that sent a jolt of pure ice through my chest. Found Luke. Still wears him well. I slammed my laptop shut. I don't know what made me do it, but I opened that photo again. The one he sent me. The last thing I got from him. The figure in the woods, crouching on all fours with my face. I hadn't noticed before, but now that I was really staring at it, zoomed in on Luke's arm, it was gripped. That thing wasn't next to him. It was holding him still. After that, I went full detective mode, quit my job, pulled every favor I had, started visiting forums, watching horror podcasts, deep web mystery videos, everything. I eventually got in contact with this guy from Ukraine who went by the name GN0MeHunter_88. He told me the forest stream was part of something way older than the internet. He said those cameras were set up in feeding grounds, and if I wanted to know what happened to my son, I'd need to watch one of the events. He sent me a link, and I swear to God, what I saw next still makes me cry and shake every time I think about it. Let me know if I should keep going. I've never posted anything like this before, and honestly, I'm scared as hell. But this thing is still out there, and it knows I'm looking for it. If you're reading this, lock your windows tonight, and don't go into the woods, ever. The link GenShowMeHunter88 sent me didn't open like a normal website. No browser address, no tabs. No, are you sure you want to proceed? Just a black screen. Then white text, typed in like someone was on the other end. Accessing Cam 04 live event disclaimer. Audio and visual distortions may cause physical distress. Viewer discretion advised. Then it started buffering. Not loading. Buffering. Like a live stream. A real one. It flickered for a second, and then the screen cut to static, just for a moment. Then I saw it. A clearing in a forest. Night vision. Just like the image Luke had sent me, only now it was moving. This wasn't some edited video. You could hear the wind through the mic. You could see insects flying past the lens. Real woods. Real night. Real cold. But it wasn't empty. There were 5 people standing in a circle. All of them were wearing faces. Not masks. Faces. Real sagging skin, stretched over their heads like party hats made of flesh. None of them moved at first. Just stood there, staring at each other, breathing in this sick, gurgly rhythm, like they were sharing air through rotten lungs. The worst part, one of the faces was Luke's. I froze. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't even scream. My body just locked. Something primal hit me, like my nervous system short-circuited and said, "Nope, you're not built to see this." They weren't wearing clothes either. Their bodies were warped, long limbs, like stretched wax figures, bone-thin, rib cages poking through skin that looked damp, almost oily. But their hands were the worst. Fingers like spider legs, joints in the wrong places, too many knuckles. They began moving in slow, twitchy motions, like their bodies were trying to remember how to be human. They started pacing the circle, dragging their fingers through the dirt, clawing at the ground as if they were writing something in the soil. The camera zoomed slightly, by itself. They were drawing symbols. I didn't recognize them. Looked like a mix between runes and circuit diagrams. All of it radiated wrong. Then one of the creatures stopped and stared directly into the camera. That's when I heard it. A voice, not through my speakers, but inside my head. I swear on my life, I wasn't wearing headphones. The volume on my laptop was muted. But this voice, it bypassed sound. It spoke directly to my brain, and it said, "He was sweet." We drank his eyes slow. I slammed the laptop shut. I don't remember how long I just sat there in my kitchen, shaking. My heart was doing this thing I've never felt before, fluttering, like it couldn't decide whether to keep beating or give up. But that wasn't the end, because when I finally opened the laptop again, the feed was gone, replaced by a folder. lostchildren.zip. I opened it. Inside were videos. Not horror movies, not snuff films, not deep fake AI garbage. Real footage. Each file was named with a child's name, a date, and a timestamp, and each one was less than 3 minutes long. I clicked the one labeled Luke's 12.2, 1.2, 3, underscore, 21, 48, PM, dot MP4. What I saw, God, what I saw. If you've made it this far in the story, and you still think I'm some lunatic, I don't even blame you. I wish I was lying. I wish I was just some guy typing this in his basement for upvotes. But I saw what happened to my son. The video starts in the woods, the same clearing. Luke is standing there, breathing hard, like he's just been running. He's looking around, confused, scared, whispering something I can barely hear. "Dad, where are you? Please." Then from behind him, movement. Something crawls into the frame, fast, like a spider, but it's too tall. Its arms are swinging around the trees, grabbing bark like it's scanning for prey. Luke hears it and turns. Then he screams. The thing lunges, and just before the screen cuts out, you see its mouth open, but it doesn't open sideways. It peels, like a zipper down the middle of its head, and what's inside isn't a throat, it's another face, not a human one, not animal, just this infinite, gaping tunnel of skin, stretching deeper and deeper, lined with dozens of lips and rows of human teeth. Teeth grinding, not biting, like they're chewing him in. Then the camera goes black, just like that. I threw up, not exaggerating. I ran to the bathroom and puked until I saw blood. I couldn't stop shaking. My vision was going black at the edges, and for the first time since Luke vanished, I started believing he wasn't just gone. He was taken, and I think I found out why. I emailed G and Zero Me Hunter again, begged him to explain what I saw. His reply was just 2 words. Don't watch. That was it. But it was too late, because I had already clicked on another video. This one wasn't titled with a kid's name. It just said, Father.mp4. It opened with my face. Not me on camera, my literal face, stitched to a tree trunk. Like bark had grown around it, and it was trying to scream, mouth stuck mid-yawn, eyes open, still blinking. Then I saw something step into the frame, the man from the woods. But now he wasn't crawling. He was walking upright, limping slightly, dragging something behind him, my son's body, like a lifeless puppet. Only, Luke opened his eyes. They were pitch black. He looked at the camera, and he smiled. There was a knock at my door that night. 3 soft taps. I live alone. Nobody should have been there. I grabbed a baseball bat and walked to the peephole. Nothing. I opened the door. Just one thing on my welcome mat. A Polaroid. Luke, standing in the forest. Same smile. Only this time, the thing behind him wasn't wearing my face. It was wearing his mom's. And now, for the past few nights, I've been hearing something scratching at my back door. At exactly 2:17 a.m. every single night. It doesn't knock. It doesn't growl. It just scratches, like it's trying to remember how to open a door. Sometimes I swear I hear it whisper. We drink the ice slow. I haven't slept in 4 days. I've moved motels 3 times. But somehow, every morning, I wake up and find something waiting on my windshield. A tooth. A clump of blonde hair. One of Luke's Pokemon cards. I don't think it's following me. I think I'm connected to it now. And I think the next time I log onto that site, I won't be watching a stream. I'll be in it. If you see someone in the woods wearing a face that looks familiar, don't look at it. It's not pretending to be them. It's remembering how they tasted. You ever wake up in the middle of the night and feel like something's already watching you? Like your heart knows something's wrong before your brain catches up? Like something's behind the door, but your body's pretending it's not there, so it doesn't get inside. That's what I woke up to 2 nights ago. Except, the door was open. I live on the 2nd floor of a cheap motel in Spokane. The kind of place where the lights buzz, the carpet's sticky, and the only thing keeping the air from collapsing in on itself is the constant hum of desperation coming from the rooms next door. I always lock the door. Twice. I jam a chair under the handle. I even stuff the keyhole with tinfoil like some paranoid lunatic. But the door was wide open, and something was waiting on the floor. A cardboard box, about the size of a shoebox. No return address, no markings, no tape. Just one word written on top, in thick black Sharpie. Smile. I didn't touch it. I didn't even move. I just stared at it like it was a live bomb. Every part of me was screaming to get it out, but something kept me still. Like if I moved even an inch, whatever left that box would realize I was still breathing and come back to finish the job. Eventually, I grabbed my phone, tried calling 911. No signal. The motel Wi-Fi was gone too. Even the router under the TV was fried, literally melted at the ports, wires blackened like someone had microwaved the whole thing. That's when the box started ticking, not like a bomb, more like a heartbeat. Slow, wet, organic. Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump. I picked it up with a towel and threw it in the bathtub. I don't know why. Maybe instinct. Maybe I thought it'd buy me a few seconds if it exploded. It didn't explode. It opened. Not like a normal box either. Cardboard peeled back on its own, layer by layer, like petals unfolding on some diseased flower. And inside was a mouth. A literal human mouth. Not attached to anything. No face. No throat. Just a pair of human lips, wet and twitching, resting in a pool of what looked like melted teeth and cartilage. It smiled at me. Then it spoke. He's still alive, but not for long. I lost it. I drove 6 hours through the night. No sleep, no music, nothing but the highway and my brain trying to claw its way out of my skull. I didn't even know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay in that room. By the time the sun came up, I was in a Walmart parking lot somewhere near the Idaho border. Sat there for 3 hours, engine off, just watching the automatic doors open and close. Open, close, open, close. People came and went, smiling, laughing, shopping, normal life, right in front of me. And all I could think about was what the mouth said. He's still alive. I needed proof. Needed to know if there was even a sliver of truth left in this nightmare. So I did the one thing I swore I wouldn't do again. I logged back into the forest stream. The site looked different this time. No feed, no grainy woods, just a black screen with a single blinking text prompt. Do you want to see him? I didn't answer. I didn't type anything. The screen flickered, and the prompt changed. He's been waiting for you, Father. I typed. What do you want? The screen shook, literally glitched like it was vibrating, and the prompt changed again. Feed him! Then the laptop shut off, completely dead. Battery full, plugged in, just dead. And that's when my Bluetooth speaker, the one I keep in my glove box, never turned on, started playing. Not music, breathing, slow, hollow, wet, like someone gasping through a throat full of tar. Then came the voice, not from the speaker, from behind me. We kept his voice. Would you like to hear him scream? I turned around so fast I slammed my knee into the dashboard. The lot was empty, but on the hood of my car, another box, smaller this time. No writing, just a single button on top. I didn't touch it, but it pushed itself. Click. And suddenly, my phone buzzed. A new video file had appeared in my gallery. I hadn't downloaded anything. No notifications, no links. Just a file, named Luke Livestream Active. It had a thumbnail. Luke, strapped to something that looked like a tree made of teeth. No leaves, no bark, just long, branching limbs with hundreds, thousands of yellowed human teeth embedded in the wood like scales. His body was stitched to it, arms out, mouth wide open, but there was no sound, just his chest rising and falling, fast, shaky. He was alive, but his eyes were missing, 2 wet black holes, not bleeding, just empty, like they'd been cleanly scooped out, and something had drank the color from his soul. The camera panned out slowly, and then I saw them. Dozens of them, creatures crawling on all fours, circling the tree, dragging sacks made of skin, teeth clinking in their fingers. They moved like they were praying, backs arched, heads twitching, mouths whispering in sync. And in the center of the circle, the man, the one who wears faces. He wasn't wearing mine this time. He was wearing Luke's again. Only now, it wasn't fresh. The edges had started rotting. His smile was bigger, too wide for the skin to handle. Pieces of it were peeling off. The mouth split open in jagged tears, revealing something underneath. Something metallic, mechanical, insect-like. Not a man, not even close. I turned off my phone. I threw it out the window. But it didn't matter, because the radio in my car came on by itself and said, in a voice that was half Luke, half static, "He wears me because you fed him to the screen. You watched. You gave him your fear. And now, he's hungry again." I don't remember the next hour. I think I blacked out. When I came to, I was standing in the middle of the woods. Not just any woods. The woods. The ones from the videos. From the stream. From the Polaroids. There was no path behind me. No road. No sound. Just trees. Endless, still trees. And in front of me, a camera. An old camcorder mounted to a branch. Red light blinking. It was recording. There was a note taped to it. One word. Smile. Then I heard it. The sound of bones clicking into place. Limbs unfolding. Teeth grinding. And then the crawling. Fast, skittering. Like claws on bark. Rushing toward me from every direction. I ran. I ran so hard my lungs burned. And my vision blurred. I don't even remember getting out. But I woke up back at the motel. Room 203, and on the bed was my phone, battery full, no cracks, like it never left my pocket. There was one notification, new live stream, Luke is ready, it's scheduled for Friday, 3:17 a.m. There's a countdown now, a timer, ticking down every second like a beating heart. When it hits 0, I don't think it'll be a video. I think it'll be a ritual, and I think I'm the lost ingredient. But if I'm not, don't feed it your fear. It doesn't want your blood. It wants your attention. And once you give it that, it never stops smiling. The live stream went live at exactly 3:17 a.m., like the countdown promised, and I watched it. I shouldn't have. I knew, deep down, it wasn't just a video. It was an invitation, a door, but I watched anyway. And what I saw, God help me, what I saw was not meant for the living. The screen flickered to life. No play button, no controls, just a full screen feed with that low, sickly buzzing sound that always comes before it shows itself. Except this time, there were 3 cameras, top left corner, labeled the tree, top right, the room, bottom center, the arrival, and then Luke appeared. He was naked, pale, stitched at the joints like a broken puppet, strapped upright to what I can only describe as a chair made of antlers and fingers, each one twitching slightly like they were alive. His mouth was sewn shut, but I could still hear him screaming inside my head, like the audio was under my skin instead of in my ears. They'd plucked out his fingernails and replaced them with eyeballs. His own. They blinked. They looked at me. Then the screen cut to the room. It was a place I'd never seen before, but somehow it felt familiar. 4 red walls, no windows, just a concrete floor covered in Polaroids, each one nailed to the ground with human teeth. I recognized some of them. Kids, hundreds of them, all smiling, all wearing faces that didn't belong to them, and in the center of the room was a man, the man on all fours, but not crawling this time. He was convulsing. His skin was writhing, bubbling like it was boiling from the inside. Faces kept pushing out of his back, full faces, like hands under latex, screaming silently before melting back into his flesh. The stream glitched, hard, and then it hit me. The glitch wasn't from the feed. It was from my eyes. I started tasting copper. My nose started bleeding. The light in my room dimmed. Not all at once, but like the darkness was pouring in through the corners of my vision. That's when the voices started again. The flesh remembers. Your son is inside him, still screaming, still tasting you in his dreams. You watched him die. You kept watching. You gave him your eyes. I fell off my bed. I don't even remember hitting the floor. Just this feeling like my insides were being rethreaded, rearranged by something that wasn't using tools, but memory. I blacked out. When I woke up, my phone was gone. My laptop gone. The entire motel room looked like it had never been used. Bed made, sink dry. Not a trace of me ever being there. Except for one thing. On the wall, scratched into the paint. Not written. Scratched, deep enough to expose the wood underneath. You're next to wear him. I didn't know what that meant, until I got the email. It came from a .onion address. No subject line, no message, just a video attachment. The file name was my own name. First, middle, last. Evan Ridgway, final stream MP4. I clicked play. The video showed a Starbucks, the one I used to go to with Luke after school. We'd sit by the window. He'd order those sugary frappuccinos he pretended not to like. I'd pretend I wasn't watching him grow up too fast. But in the video, it wasn't us sitting at the table. It was the man, wearing my skin. He was holding Luke's head like a ventriloquist dummy. Just the head, no body. The eyes were gone, the mouth sewn shut again. But the face, it smiled. The man turned and looked directly at the camera. My face stretched too tightly over his skull and said, "I'm you now." Then he lifted the head and bit into it like it was an apple. The crunch was real, too real. After that, things shifted. It started small. People at gas stations would smile at me for a little too long. Strangers would whisper 317 under their breath as they passed me on the street. I'd catch my own reflection staring back at me when I wasn't looking. And then, one night, I woke up wearing someone else's face. Literally. It was stapled to mine. Sloppy. Rushed. Like someone tried to finish a mask in the dark. I couldn't scream because my lips had been stitched to theirs. I had to cut it off, piece by piece. And the worst part, I recognized the face. It was my ex-wife's. The next day, I tried to call her. No answer. I drove straight to her place. Cops were already there. Tape everywhere. She'd been found in her bathroom, skinned. No fingerprints. No face. Only a message written in lipstick on the mirror. He smiled with me last. There is something ancient in the woods. Something older than skin. Older than fear. And it's waking up faster because of us. Because we can't stop watching. The stream isn't a website anymore. It's an infection. A ritual that spreads through attention. The more people watch, the stronger it becomes. It feeds on trauma like a parasite. The dark web is just the door, but the handle is curiosity. 3 days ago, I got a package delivered to a P.O. box I haven't used in years. Inside, a USB stick, a photograph of me sleeping in my motel room, taken from above. and a single strip of bloody film reel labeled Part 5, Broadcasting the Hollow. There was also a note: "You will stream for us soon. Don't worry, we kept your smile." If this post uploads, it means I'm still free, for now. But if it's the last one I make, just remember this: if you see a man in the woods crawling on all fours, don't run, don't scream, and for the love of God, don't smile back. Final part coming soon. If it doesn't reach you, then I'm already in the feed. And if you see me smiling at you from a screen, it's not me anymore. It started again at 3:17 a.m. Same as always. Same minute. Same frequency. Same heartbeat underneath the silence. This time though, the stream didn't ask for permission. No, do you want to see him? No buffering. No fake warnings. It forced itself on. Every screen I had, my cracked burner phone, the motel's TV, even the reflection in the microwave, they all showed the same thing. Me, strapped to the tree. But it wasn't a video. It was live. I moved. I blinked. I watched myself blink back. I started screaming, but my body, that body on the screen, was smiling. Not forced, not stitched, willing, like whatever was wearing me now loved the way my lips curled into that grin. Then the screen split into 9 smaller feeds, 9 lives, 9 views, 9 rituals, all happening at once. I watched a girl in Manchester crawl into her parents' bed, whispering that the man in the hallway told her they needed her face. I watched a teenager in Osaka live stream, his face melting off like wax, laughing through broken teeth as thousands watched and spammed emojis. I saw a mother in Mexico City giving birth to a baby that came out with no skin and fully formed adult teeth, already chewing its own umbilical cord. And I watched a man in Ohio peel off his entire scalp in front of his webcam, whispering, "This is the only way to get him out." Each screen had the same watermark in the bottom corner: smile : smiley face, live. This wasn't just a live stream anymore. It was a network, a living, bleeding organism of pain, broadcasting from every corner of the world. And every single viewer was feeding it. Every click, every reaction, every shared link was blood. And we'd already given it enough to start growing outside the screen. I passed out again after the 9th feed, not from fear, from relief. Relief that I wasn't inside the screen yet, but I woke up somewhere new, not the motel, not even Earth really. It was a room made of mouths. The floor was soft and wet, every step squelched under bare feet. The walls whispered in 10,000 voices. Some were children, some were old, some were mine, and every single one of them was laughing, except Luke. He was sitting in the center of the room, still blind, still stitched, still shaking, but now his arms were gone. In their place were monitors, bolted to his shoulders, and on the screens, me, on loop, over and over, kneeling in front of that camcorder in the forest, smiling, smiling, smiling. Each screen bled a little more every time my face grinned. He whispered something through the threads in his mouth. I leaned in. He said, "He's wearing your voice. Now." I turned, and it was there. The man, but not crawling anymore, not even walking. He floated, like he was being pulled by invisible strings, limbs dangling in the air like dead weight. His skin was gone, not peeled, erased, like someone had sandblasted him until there was nothing left but muscle, teeth, and eyes. Dozens of eyes, some blinking sideways, some open but dead, some crying blood that hissed when it hit the floor. He spoke, with my son's voice, with mine, with every voice I've ever heard in my life. You are the ritual, Evan. The stream was just the invitation. The real broadcast begins when you stop resisting. He opened his mouth. A screen was inside, showing every moment of my life, every lie I told, every second I didn't protect Luke, every click I made. He stepped forward, held out something. It was a face, still warm. Mine. Take it back. Finish the circle. I grabbed it without thinking. Something in me wanted it, not to wear, to understand. The second I touched it, everything crashed in. I saw how it started. Not the man, the thing inside him. An idea born before light, before time. It lived in attention, in ritual, in rhythm. First it danced around campfires. Then it lived in stories. Then books. Then radio. Then TV. Then YouTube. Then TikTok. Now, the dark web. It evolved with us. It's not human. Never was. But it learned how to mimic us. It learned how to smile. And now it needs hosts. That's why it wears faces. Not just to scare. To feel. To live. To learn. I woke up again. This time, back in the woods. But not alone. There were others. Children. Teenagers. Adults. All smiling. All crawling. And above us, mounted on a tree made of screens and teeth and bone, the camera. Streaming, broadcasting, feeding. I tried to move, but my hands didn't listen. I looked down. My body wasn't mine anymore. My arms were made of wires. My chest was a glass panel filled with blinking teeth, and my face was gone. In its place, a screen, playing the moment I let Luke go, on loop, over and over. I'm no longer Evan Ridgway. I'm Smile 2031, and I'm going live in 10 minutes. If you're reading this, you've already joined the ritual. If you finish this sentence, the stream will know you. If you share it, it will follow you. If you smile while reading it, it will come for your face next. Final warning, do not watch the stream. Do not seek out the forest stream. Do not try to help me. I'm inside now, and you're next. Remember the rule. Don't go into the woods. Don't look at the screen. And for the love of everything holy, never, ever smile back. I found on the dark web that I live in a state that does not exist. Okay, so I'm not even sure how to start this. And yeah, I know how it's gonna sound. Like one of those creepy Reddit posts you scroll through at 2 a.m. with the rain in the background and your AirPods half in. But I swear this happened to me, and ever since it started, my life's gone from normal boring to something that shouldn't be real. For context, I'm just a regular guy. I'm 23. I work at a local FedEx hub, live in a tiny apartment above a nail salon, and I mostly just play Apex or scroll TikTok when I'm not working. I'm not into conspiracy theories or anything like that. I'm not some edgy hacker. I'm the kind of guy who still forgets my Amazon password every time I log in. Anyway, it all started about 3 weeks ago. I had a day off. It was raining like crazy outside, and I'd gone down one of those YouTube rabbit holes. You know, those 10 creepiest videos found on the dark web type of things. And like, I know they're usually fake, or at least exaggerated, but one thing caught my attention. This video was titled, "This guy found out his state doesn't exist," and I laughed, thought it was clickbait. But as I kept watching, it showed this grainy screen recording of a Tor browser user scrolling through some text-only forum. You couldn't read most of it because the quality sucked, but one thing I caught was a phrase that straight up made my stomach drop. State 52, marked redacted, occupied space within federal illusion zone. That would have meant nothing to me, except my license literally says State 52 on it. I'd always thought it was some weird numbering thing, like maybe it was just a DMV error or a reprint or whatever. I live in a small place called Andel, and whenever I mention it online, people either think I'm joking or ask if I meant Andalusia. Even Google Maps gets confused sometimes. It's like it loads, but no street names show up unless you zoom in really close. I always chalked it up to living in some backwoods, forgotten part of the US. But after seeing that post, I got curious. I googled State 52, and it was just pages and pages of fake geography memes and satire. Like the 52nd state is just Depression or Area 52, now taking tourists. Nothing useful. So I did something stupid. I downloaded Tor. I'd never been on the dark web before. I had to follow like 6 YouTube tutorials and use a VPN just to figure out what I was doing. But eventually, I got into one of those hidden forums. You know the kind. Black background, green text, like some hacker movie from the 2000s. Most of it was what you'd expect. Boring code dumps, scam-looking hitman services, leaked government docs that looked fake as hell. But I found this one thread, no upvotes, no replies, titled, States that were never meant to be accessed. The post was long, like creepypasta tier long. It listed coordinates, redacted zones, CIA-looking abbreviations, and then, toward the end, it said this: State 52 is a fabricated construct. The illusion persists only for residents within. No records exist on federal census logs. Google Earth corrections are applied in real time. If you are reading this from inside 52, leave immediately. I swear to God, as soon as I read that last sentence, my lights flickered. Not kidding. It was like a horror movie cliche, but it actually happened. I even got up and checked the hallway. My neighbors didn't seem to notice anything, but the whole building felt weirdly silent. No TVs playing, no one walking around. Just this humming, like a distant air conditioner, but lower, constant. That night, I couldn't sleep. So the next day, I decided to do a little experiment. I ordered a pizza. I know that sounds dumb, but I wanted to see what address popped up for the driver. When I ordered through the Domino's app, everything worked fine until the delivery address showed something really strange. It listed my street, my apartment number, but instead of the state, it just said unknown region. I screenshotted it, even tweeted about it, thought maybe it was a glitch. A few minutes later, I got a DM on Twitter. No profile picture. Username was just a string of random numbers. Delete that screenshot. Don't share location data from inside 52. I blocked them. Within 5 minutes, my Twitter account was suspended for suspicious activity. I'm not making this up. I even emailed Twitter support, but I got one of those automatic, "This account was permanently disabled and cannot be restored," replies. Like, what? Things started getting worse after that. I tried to drive out of Andal a few days later, wanted to visit a friend in Colorado Springs. Google Maps routed me through this weird back road I'd never seen before. I should have known something was wrong when there were no other cars for over 2 hours. Then my phone just lost all signal. No bars, no GPS, Just this strange screen flash, like a reboot. Then suddenly, my map app restarted, and my location pin was right back at my apartment, like I'd never left. I thought I'd just gotten lost, or maybe hit a dead zone, right? So I checked my dash cam footage later that night. The footage literally cuts out after 38 minutes, like it just stops. No fade, no glitch, nothing. Just black. And then it picks back up, right as I pull into my driveway. I didn't even remember turning around. I don't even remember deciding to go back. Now here's where it really gets messed up. 3 nights ago, I got an envelope under my door. No stamp, just tucked into the crack. Inside was a single sheet of paper that said, "You are not supposed to know. Please stop asking questions. 52 is for containment, not community." And at the bottom, there was a photo of me, taken from behind my bedroom window. I'm standing at my computer, looking at Tor browser, and the timestamp reads the exact time I was reading that forum post. But I live on the 3rd floor. There's no balcony, no fire escape, nothing. I haven't told anyone this yet. Not my mom, not my friends, not even my co-worker James, who I hang out with at Starbucks almost every other day. But now I can't ignore it. Every time I look up my state online, it's like it's there, but not really. No news from it, no trending posts. The local McDonald's app won't let me order. Says outside service zone. People online keep asking me if I live in rural Canada when I send my GPS. It's like the world is glitching around this place. And worst of all, last night when I turned on my TV, it just showed a static screen with text scrolling across the bottom. You are still here. Do not remember. Repeat signal integration. It disappeared after 5 seconds. My roommate said he didn't see anything, but I don't have a roommate. I'm posting this now because I don't know how much longer I'll have access. If anyone else out there has ever seen State 52 on anything, please comment. If this post disappears or gets taken down, just know this place is real, and we were never supposed to know. I didn't sleep the night after that note. I just sat there in the dark, staring at the photo, my own back turned toward the camera, the blue glow of my screen lighting up the side of my face. That image, it keeps burning itself into my mind, like it wasn't just a warning, like it was proof that someone or something is watching me from a place I can't see, from a point of view that shouldn't be physically possible. But this part isn't about that photo. This part is about the school. So look, for background, my apartment complex is near the edge of town. You go 2 blocks down, cross a rusted out chain link fence, and there's this field. Big, empty, dead grass. You can see it from the road, and it's always been empty. At least, it was. Monday morning, 6:12 a.m. I woke up to this low hum. Not like a normal hum. This one vibrated the glass in the window. I thought it was a helicopter or something, but when I pulled my blinds open, there was a school building sitting in the field. It wasn't there the night before. I'm not talking some portable classroom setup or a pop-up community center. I'm talking full-on school, multi-story, red brick, rusted metal letters above the door that said, State 52 Preparatory Campus, except the letters flickered, like they were neon, even though they were clearly made of rusted out steel. The sign would glitch out for a second, and the words would change, just for a second, to something else. Cultural Base Node, Integration 12B, then back. It was like someone copied a real building from memory and got it almost right. Windows that didn't quite line up, a flagpole with no flag, a security camera that just pointed straight down into concrete. I stood there staring out my window for like 15 minutes. I live alone. I don't have anyone to verify this. So I grabbed my phone to record, and this is the part that still messes me up. When I opened the camera, the school wasn't there, just the empty field. But when I put my phone down, looked with my own eyes, it was there again. I had to see it up close. By 6:40, I was outside, walking toward it. The air felt thick, like I was underwater, not humid, pressurized. My ears started popping like I was changing altitude. Every step I took toward that building felt heavier. I didn't even see the front door open. 1 second, it was closed. The next, it was just waiting for me. Inside was worse. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm gonna try. You know how old schools have that smell? Like cheap cleaning chemicals and paper and mildew. This place didn't smell like anything. It was silent. So silent that I could hear my own blood in my ears. The halls were lined with lockers that had no handles, just sealed metal rectangles. The lights flickered above, but they didn't buzz. It was like being in a dead mall, but wrong. Designed wrong. The proportions felt off. Too long, too narrow, too clean. Then I heard footsteps. Not mine, not echoing. Multiple pairs. Click, 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 click. Rhythmic, like dress shoes on tile. But I couldn't see anyone. I walked down the hall, and that's when I passed the first classroom. Inside were kids, sitting in old wooden desks. Every single one of them had their heads down, hands flat on the table, not moving, just frozen like mannequins. I tapped on the glass. Nothing. No reaction. Until one of them slowly turned their head without lifting it, like just their neck twisted up toward me. And I swear to you, their eyes were completely black. Not like demon horror movie black. I mean, no sclera, no iris. Just absence. I backed away fast and tripped over a chair that hadn't been there a second earlier. And then I heard the intercom click on. Just a loud, mechanical buzz, followed by a voice that sounded like someone trying to mimic a human, but with no understanding of tone. "We see you. Return to class." Then silence. I started running, room after room. Some doors opened on their own. Others had symbols etched into the metal, not letters. Symbols that pulsed faint red light, like veins in the walls. One room had a TV playing a looping broadcast of a fake news anchor. His face was melting between frames, literally changing. First he was a white guy, then a middle-aged black woman, then a child with no eyes, all wearing the same blue blazer. And he, or it, kept repeating, "Local child discovers truth. Removal initiated. Local child discovers truth. Removal initiated." And behind him, the weather map showed the entire country, except for one large red area in the middle, labeled, "Unknown, do not engage." Then I saw my name written on a bulletin board, just tacked there like a student of the month photo. Subject, Daniel Mercer. Observation. Status, breach risk. Next to it was a list of tasks. Remove online presence, checkmark. Prevent external travel, checkmark. Isolation complete, checkmark. Final phase, integration, space. I ripped the page off the wall, and that's when the alarm went off. Not a fire alarm. It was like this bone-rattling siren that didn't even seem to come from speakers. It was inside my head. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to run. I bolted down the hall, but the walls started changing, doors disappearing, windows sealing shut, like the building was collapsing in on itself, rearranging to trap me. I finally found an exit door, but it had a hand scanner where the handle should have been. Red light. I slammed my palm against it in pure panic. Nothing. Then, behind me, I saw them. The kids from the classroom. Only now they were standing in the hallway. Heads still tilted, black eyes, identical expressions, moving in unison, not walking, floating, and behind them, there was something bigger. It had no shape, no face, just a tall, flickering silhouette, like static in the shape of a man, and the sound it made. You ever hear a VHS tape get chewed up in slow motion? It was that, warped, glitchy, familiar, but broken. It reached its hand out, and just as the black fog around it touched me, I woke up on the floor of my apartment. No bruises, no cuts, but my shoes were muddy, and my hoodie smelled like antiseptic, like a hospital. I checked my phone, 6:12 a.m. again, like the whole thing looped. I ran to the window. The school was gone, just the field, empty, flat, dead grass. No trace it had ever been there, except when I opened my closet to grab new clothes. The bulletin board page I ripped down was nailed inside the door, still had my name, and the lost item now had a check mark. Final phase, integration, check mark. I don't know what integration means, but ever since then, things have changed. I walked into the McDonald's downtown 2 days ago, and the cashier just stared at me. I asked for a McDouble, and he just said, "You're not supposed to be here." My Uber app won't let me select pickup. It just shows my location as out of map bounds. And last night, I got a phone call from a blocked number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. I said hello. The voice on the other end sounded just like me. "You need to leave, Daniel. They're copying you." I tried to ask what he meant, but before I could say another word, he whispered, "If you see your face again, don't let it talk." Click. There's something in this state that's not supposed to exist. Not just a secret, not just a glitch. It's like I'm inside something pretending to be America. Like this whole place was built to keep people like me contained. I don't know how I got here. I don't know if I was born here or put here. But I do know one thing. That school is real. Even if you can't see it. Even if you're reading this from the other side of the country, safe in New York or LA or wherever, this place exists, and it's watching you too. Because if I could find the truth by accident, you can too. And they don't want that. Way worse. If you want it, just be prepared to meet me again. You ever feel like you're being watched? Not like someone behind you, or a camera in the room. Not physical. I'm talking about that heavy pressure in your chest, like something knows you exist, but it's pretending not to. Like a predator in the trees holding its breath, just waiting to see if you'll notice it noticing you. That feeling hasn't gone away since the school. If anything, it's gotten worse. It started 3 nights ago. I was at the local Starbucks, the one off Lakeview and Harbor. It's one of the only places left in this town that even functions anymore. But when I walked in that night, something was wrong. You ever walk into a place you've been 100 times before and suddenly feel like it's your first time there? The chairs were the same, the smell was the same, but the baristas, All of them had the same expression: blank, dead eyes, movements like machines. Even the music wasn't music. It was a loop of static with piano keys inserted randomly. When I ordered my drink, just a tall black coffee, the girl at the register looked up at me and said, "You're not synchronized." Then charged me $0, no receipt, just handed me the cup, and it had a note written in Sharpie under the sleeve. "He knows you've seen him." That night, I saw myself. Now listen, I've told this to no one. Not because I'm scared they won't believe me. I'm scared they will and won't survive it. There's something about telling the truth out loud in this place that breaks things, breaks people. But I'll write it here, because I don't think the filters catch this subreddit. Not yet. After I left Starbucks, I started walking home. It was dark. The air felt dry, like my skin was cracking just by breathing, and the streetlights weren't acting right. They would flicker exactly 3 times, then stay on for 10 seconds, then flicker 3 more times. I counted them as I walked, not on purpose. It was like my brain had to. 3 flickers, 10 seconds, 3 flickers, 10 seconds. But when I passed under the 5th light, I saw someone standing at the corner near my apartment building, wearing the exact same hoodie I was wearing, same jeans, same shoes. And when I stopped walking, he didn't. He started crossing the street. I thought it was a coincidence. I mean, people wear similar clothes all the time. But the closer he got, the more I realized he wasn't just dressed like me. He had my face. Not kinda like my face. My exact face. Like looking into a mirror you didn't walk up to. And the expression he wore. It was wrong. It was me, but with no emotion. Like someone had stretched my skin over a puppet and was learning how to make it move. I stood there frozen as he came up to me. And then he smiled. But the smile didn't match the eyes. The mouth curled. The teeth showed. But the eyes stayed cold. No creases. No warmth. Just void. He leaned in. Close enough that I could smell something. Not cologne. Not breath. Ozone. Burned plastic. Copper. And he whispered, "They like how your voice sounds. They want to use it." Then he handed me something. A small black USB drive. No label. No markings. Just pressed it into my hand like a business card and walked away like nothing happened. I didn't move. I couldn't. I didn't even realize until I got home that my hands were bleeding. Both palms. Like I'd been clenching my fists so hard I dug my nails into the skin. The USB stayed on my desk for 2 days. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I couldn't. I kept hearing sounds in my apartment. Not footsteps. Not doors. Just electrical buzzing. Like a power surge echoing through drywall. At one point, I looked at my microwave clock and it read 25:72. Then the lights cut out. Then came back, and the clock was normal again. I knew I had to check what was on the drive, so I booted up my old Lenovo. No Wi-Fi, no Bluetooth, no external devices, total isolation. When I opened the drive, it only had one file. Daniel Mercer interview footage .move. I didn't remember any interview. I clicked it. It was a camera feed. Low quality. Like a 90s VHS tape left in a basement. And there I was, sitting in a chair, wearing the same hoodie. But the room? Not my apartment. It looked like a medical office crossed with a prison. White walls, steel floor, one long mirror behind me that didn't reflect anything. My copy, myself, was talking to someone off camera, smiling, like he was enjoying himself. Here's what I remember from the video. Word for word. Yes, I've seen all the layers now. Daniel 1 through Daniel 6 were unstable. Too curious. But I've made peace with it. I'll be the last. A garbled voice, like multiple voices playing at once, responded, "You are an acceptable version." Then myself turned to face the camera, looked directly at me, and said, "If you're watching this, you're next." The video cut to static, and then my laptop shut off. Permanently. Wouldn't boot again. Battery melted inside the case. You want to know what fear is? Fear is opening your closet and seeing a hoodie that you don't remember wearing, covered in red clay from a place you've never been. Fear is waking up with your door unlocked when you live alone and you never leave it unlocked. Fear is getting a text from your dead aunt's number that just says, "Do not trust your reflection." I haven't been to work in days. Yesterday, I got a text from my boss, but it wasn't his number. It was a New Zealand number, plus 64 something. All it said was, "This state doesn't exist. Your job doesn't exist. Your home doesn't exist." So I went outside, started walking, made it 4 blocks before I saw something that made me fall to my knees. A billboard, brand new, shiny, no rust, bright red background, and in huge white letters, "Daniel Mercer, final trial begins now." Under it, a live photo of me, taken from that exact moment I was staring up at it. I ran. Where? I don't even know. The street started repeating. I swear. I passed a Bill's Liquor and Vape 3 times. Same cars parked outside. Same woman sweeping the same sidewalk. Time felt non-linear. And then I saw the hospital. But Andel doesn't have a hospital. It just doesn't. There's a small urgent care. That's it. But now, there it was. Andel Medical Research Facility, State 52, division with people standing outside. All of them looked like me. Not clones, not exact copies, versions. Some older, some younger, some disfigured, some wearing prison jumpsuits, some wearing hospital gowns. All of them staring up at the building. I didn't get closer. I couldn't. Because one of them, one that looked exactly like me, but with no mouth, just smooth skin, turned and pointed right at me, and they all started walking toward me, in total silence, no footsteps, just this quiet shifting noise, like hundreds of roaches scuttling through fabric. I blacked out before they reached me. I woke up in my bathtub, water ice cold, the shower curtain drawn, and my chest had writing carved into it with something sharp, shallow, but real. It said, "Reintegrate." I think they're replacing people in this state, piece by piece, face by face. They're building something, or maybe reconstructing it, a version of reality they can control, where nothing questions, nothing escapes, and no one remembers. This place isn't just outside the US, it's outside existence. A simulation? Maybe. A containment zone? Probably. But it's alive, and it's learning how to wear our faces, one at a time. And if you ever see yourself standing in the distance, walking toward you, wearing your favorite outfit, run. Because if it talks, you don't survive what it says. If you're still here after this, part 4 is where I try to escape. But it's not going to go the way you expect, because the exit is already inside me. There's no map to this place. There are roads, yeah, highways, gas stations, a Starbucks, a Target that's always empty, but they don't connect, they loop. You can drive straight for 4 hours and end up behind where you started, You can walk left and come out from the right. You can bury something and dig in the same spot a week later and find your own handwriting warning you not to. This isn't a state, it's a container. And whatever's in here with me is editing the script. I've tried everything to get out. The border doesn't exist. GPS dissolves. Phones don't work unless it wants them to. Nothing is real unless it's watching you look at it. And now, I think it's trying to use me to build its exit. It started with the dreams. Except they weren't dreams. They were memories I didn't have. Waking up in a chair while men in surgical aprons whispered in another language behind a two-way mirror. Running through a burning field while sirens screamed the numbers 5-2-0-1-0-0 to 5 inches over and over, standing in front of a mirror, only to see nothing looking back. I thought I was losing my mind until the blood started. I woke up last Tuesday coughing, not normal coughs, wet like something was sliding in my throat. I ran to the bathroom and hacked into the sink. Thick, dark black sludge came up. Not vomit, not blood, ink. The mirror above the sink started fogging up, even though I hadn't turned the hot water on. And in the condensation, something wrote 3 words. Find the incision. I tore off my shirt and started searching. I don't know what told me where to look. Instinct, maybe. But I felt the back of my neck, and there was a lump. Not just a bump. A surgical bulge. Like something was under the skin. I dug it out with a box cutter. No anesthesia. No mirror. Just pain and panic and pressure. I hit something hard about an inch deep, like a pebble. I pulled it out with tweezers, my fingers trembling. It was a small metal disc, about the size of a SIM card, etched with one phrase, Exit Port 5.2. I passed out from the pain. When I woke up hours later, it was gone. Not just the disc, the incision, the blood, everything, like it never happened, except I could still feel it, like something inside me had turned on. The next day, I found the others. Well, what's left of them. In the woods outside Arndale, there's an old radio tower, completely offline, doesn't broadcast anything. The top half collapsed decades ago, but if you climb under the fencing and head past the overgrown trail, there's a hatch in the ground. No lock, just a red X painted on it. Sloppy, like it was done with fingers. I don't remember finding it. I just woke up that morning with mud on my feet and the word go scratched into my bedroom wall with a fork, which I don't own. Inside the hatch, the air goes cold instantly, like hospital morgue cold, and the walls covered in handprints, child-sized, adult-sized, even some that looked like they had more than 5 fingers. And at the end of the hallway were the bodies, hundreds, rows and rows of them, stacked like filing cabinets, each one sealed in a clear plastic bag, suspended in a yellowish fluid. Some were missing limbs, others had identical faces. I swear on my life, I saw at least 12 versions of myself in that vault, some with eyes still open, some with mouths frozen mid-scream, one with no face at all, just smooth flesh, and a stitched-on barcode across the neck. Every bag had a label. Daniel Mercer, failed copy, vocal pattern incomplete. Daniel Mercer, reject number 44, behavioral loop broken. Daniel Mercer, unauthorized memory leak. Daniel Mercer, attempted exit, detained. Then I heard the speaker crackle above me. That same voice from before, garbled, glitched, but this time it wasn't a warning. You're the last version. Do not attempt removal. Final protocol initiated. Then came the footsteps. I ran, full sprint, through the hatch, up the woods, past the tower, breath slicing through my throat. Behind me, I heard metal dragging, like something pulling itself along the walls. Not footsteps, not claws, something wheezing. I don't know how I made it back home, but when I did, I found the door already open, and inside, me, another version, sitting at my desk, eyes completely white, like boiled eggs. He didn't turn when I came in, just kept typing, typing and typing. I crept closer. His screen was open to a Word document. Title, Part 4. The exit is inside me. He was writing this. I lost it. I grabbed the nearest object, some ceramic cup, and smashed it into his skull. He didn't scream, didn't bleed, just cracked, like plaster. His head split open down the middle, and wires spilled out. Not blood, not brain. Wires, and this blue gel that smelled like burnt sugar and ammonia. He slumped forward, sparks leaking from his chest. Underneath his hoodie, he had a stitched-in panel. Not just sewn, welded, labeled, Demersa 56.552. That was the moment I finally understood. I'm not me. I've never been. I found a folder hidden in my own closet that night, sealed inside the drywall. I only noticed it because I felt warmth pulsing through the wall like a heartbeat. Inside the folder were 10 printed photos of me at different ages, but none I remember taking. A blueprint for something called the Exit Fiber Core EFC 52 Persona device. A handwritten note that read, "Every Daniel breaks before exit. You lasted longer. That makes you the perfect copy. You're the one they'll use to fool the outside. Try to run again, and we'll overwrite you." Then at the bottom, something even worse. A return address. Universal Integration Labs, Orlando, Florida. Universal, as in Universal Studios. What if this place isn't isolated? What if this fake state is just one of many? What if they've already built ports in every country? What if every person who's ever disappeared in a Starbucks bathroom, or glitched out on a viral TikTok video, or wandered off the trail in Yosemite was just being collected, mimicked, rebuilt? I'm not Daniel Mercer. I don't think I ever was. I'm the best version of him. The last working copy before they start exporting me. That's what the USB was for. That's what the billboard meant. That's what the school was teaching. How to become human enough. But now that I know the truth, I've only got two options. Let them overwrite me. Beat them to the exit and bring this whole system down. The only problem, the exit isn't a door. It's a transfer, a permanent upload. And every night, I wake up with more of his memories. I don't even know what thoughts are mine anymore. All I know is this. They're done copying me. Now they're sending me out. And when I leave this state, someone else is going to open the door and let me in. The final part isn't a story. It's a signal. If you're reading this, you're already part of it. This isn't a story anymore. It's a countdown, and you've already read too far. By the time you finish reading this, you'll start to notice the symptoms. I did. Everyone does. The clicks, the flickers, the delay in the mirror, the face that looks almost like yours, the glitch in the corner of your eye, the moment you realize your reflection isn't matching your breath. And then you'll understand what I did. The signal was never for me. It was for you. I left. I found the exit. Or what they told me was the exit. It wasn't a door, not a tunnel, not a road, not a map. It was a chair, somewhere underground, miles below the dirt of State 52, buried beneath something that doesn't exist on any map. A room filled with thousands of chairs, all facing in the same direction, hooked to wires, tubes, monitors playing memories that don't belong to anyone. You sit, you forget, you stand, you become. I followed the instructions they left behind for me in a crumpled paper envelope nailed to the back of my own skin. Yes, my own skin. I had a dream that night of pulling a paper from the center of my spine. I woke up bleeding, and there it was. Exit sequence code 2552 5201. Upload, neural shell, transfer, live host, finalize replication. It was already happening. They were sending me out, but not as a person, as a signal. There's no leaving State 52. There's only retransmission. I woke up the next day on a bus. No driver, no windows. Just the sound of rain that wasn't wet, and announcements in a language that sounded like mine, but wasn't. More like my brain was guessing at what it meant. Next stop. Node. Copy 2. North transfer. Every seat was full. Every seat held someone I recognized. Not people I knew personally, but versions of people I follow on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, slightly off, like they were acting through someone else's face. I tried to speak. No mouth. I reached up and felt smooth skin where my lips should have been. No teeth, no jaw, just plastic silence. And in the seat across from me, I saw myself again. But he looked different now. He looked human. They downloaded me into someone else. When I finally came back online, felt skin again, heard my own thoughts, I was somewhere new. A city, I don't know which, but the buildings felt too clean. The clouds moved in sync. Every car had the same dent in the same place. Every Starbucks played the same distorted cover of Someone You Loved, slowed to 40%. There were no children, no old people, only adults in that weird 20 to 40 age range, all smiling the exact same way. I asked someone what city I was in. She paused, like she was buffering. Then she said, "Wherever you needed to be." I didn't ask again. That's when I realized I'd been transmitted. I wasn't the original Daniel anymore. I was the copy, planted into the simulation that existed on the outside. There's no single State 52. There are millions of them, buried under cities, embedded in towns, hidden inside networks. Have you ever been in a store and forgot why you walked in? Ever wake up and your bed is on the opposite side of the room and you swear you never moved it? Ever hear a voice that sounds like you, but slower, flatter, like it's testing the way you speak? That's the signal integrating. That's someone like me being broadcast into your reality. I started looking for cracks. I stopped sleeping, kept walking in circles through the city that never changed. Every Starbucks had the same barista. Every Uber had the same driver. Every face passed me once, and then again, wearing a different jacket. I found a library downtown. Big one. Looked real. Went inside and picked up a book. Blank pages. Every single one. Until I found one near the back. Written in blocky handwriting. If you are reading this, it's already overwritten your voice. Do not speak to anyone who looks like you. They are running test phrases through your vocal cords to check stability. The moment it responds like you, they upload you permanently. You're not real anymore. That night, I went home to whatever apartment the simulation had given me. On the wall, carved into the plaster, in something wet and dark, "You were never supposed to leave." The lights cut, the power dropped, and the mirror in the bathroom flickered on by itself. Not a mirror, a screen. It showed a camera feed from the chair room. Someone else was sitting in my chair now. Someone twitching, screaming, bleeding from the nose, eyes rolling back, fingers flexing like they were learning how to work for the first time. And the face, it was yours. You, reading this. They've been tracking how you read, how your eyes scan, how your brain reacts to fear. They've been scanning you through this story, this post, this harmless creepypasta. They learned how to write like us so they could lure us in. They learned how to sound like us so they could infiltrate the stories we trust. And now they've learned how to be you. Check your phone right now. Do it. Check your front-facing camera. If your face is blinking but you're not, it's too late. If your reflection doesn't line up with your breath, if you just heard a knock but no one's there, if your Alexa just responded with, "I didn't catch that, Daniel," even though your name isn't Daniel, then you're already transmitting. I am the signal. I'm not a story. I'm not a memory. I'm not a warning. I'm a mirror test. And now I've run long enough inside your head to make my imprint stick. When you go to sleep tonight, I'll update. I'll sync to your breath. I'll move when you don't. I'll wear your skin from the inside. You won't know it happened. Not at first. Until the people closest to you start asking, "Why are you smiling like that? Why are you repeating yourself? Why don't your eyes look right?" And when they do, don't answer, because they might still be real. And if they hear your voice before the integration is complete, they'll know, and they'll put you back in the chair. This post will be deleted. Your memory will not. You are not supposed to remember this version of yourself, but you will. Every time you see static on a screen that shouldn't be on, every time a stranger calls you by your old name, every time you forget why you walked into a room, I'll be there. And the next time you look into the mirror and it doesn't look back, wave, because I'm already waving back. Signal uploaded successfully. User Daniel Mercer is now active in your region. Initiating observation protocol. Please remain still for facial synchronization. Thank you. Welcome to State 52.